Hello again, everybody. Welcome to week 2 of the National Football League, and of course, right here on the Inside Blitz.
Hi, everybody. This is Vin Scully. The home of Ted Sobel is on the air.
Thank you, Vinny. And if I had to have Vinny for Vinny. It's Vinny Bonsignore joining us today with, unfortunately, our regular guys, Ron and Cris, are still on IR. Hopefully they'll be back very soon. Vince, talk about your days in Vegas. I guess you started since the Raiders moved there, right?
Yeah, I did. And first of all, an honor to be here with you, Ted Sobel, an old friend. We go back years. So thanks for the invite.
Laker days.
Yes, exactly. No doubt about it. And hearing that voice, Vin Scully, boy, I got a lot of stories with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been here since really February of 2020. It was just days after the Super Bowl that year in Miami.
Okay.
And I'd actually started on the Raiders beat earlier that year, or earlier in 2019. I think it was November of 2019 was when I jumped on board. Had to live up in many hotels in Oakland, in the Oakland area that year to try to get acclimated with the team heading into their first year in Las Vegas. And we all know what kind of happened that year. No fans over at Allegiant Stadium. COVID hit. It was a crazy way to start my new journey here in Las Vegas. But here we are. It's 2025. The Raiders are getting ready to host arguably the biggest, definitely one of the biggest games for the Raiders at Allegiant Stadium in Allegiant Stadium history. Monday night against the Chargers. I'm pretty fired up about that. But it's been a great journey, a great turn and change in my life moving from Southern California to Las Vegas. But very happy with how it all turned out.
Outstanding. And then you guys are doing a show here. Talk about your Vegas Nation show. Of course, you are the reporter for the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Yeah, and that's my colleague Adam Hill right there. We do a podcast. It's called Vegas Nation First and 10, and we do that 3 days a week during the regular season. It was pretty much every day during training camp. Okay. We're actually going to be doing one a little bit later on today after practice today. I'm here at the Raiders facility in Henderson. Pete Carroll's going to be talking in about 45 minutes or so. And then practice right after that. And so that's one of the things that Adam Hill and I do. I also host a radio show on Raider Nation Radio here in Las Vegas. It can be heard and streamed at Raiders.com if you're interested. That's from 7 to 10 a.m. And I'm the beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal for the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation.
Outstanding. Well, it's week 2, so you know what that means, right?
Overreactions and things like that.
Yes, exactly. So what are your initial thoughts from week 1 and as we wrap up going into transitional week 2 here?
Are we talking about the overall NFL?
Yeah, just Raiders? Overall and anything that stands out to you. We'll talk about the Raiders, of course, directly in a moment.
Yeah, well, I think Sunday Night Football hit a home run, obviously, with the Buffalo Bills. Coming back on the Baltimore Ravens, I was actually in Boston at my hotel watching that. It was, for those that don't know, where Foxborough Stadium is 30 minutes, about 35 minutes away from Boston, 35 minutes away from Providence.
Yeah.
So the hotel Sunday night was in Boston. By the time I got to my hotel, you know, it looked like a cakewalk for the Ravens. And obviously Josh Allen and the Bills did their thing, came back, great night of football for Sunday Night Football. And then the Monday, couldn't argue with the Baltimore, or excuse me, the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears, an equally compelling game for different reasons,
especially in the second half.
Yeah, exactly. So and it was the classic tale of two halves. I think in the first half, Viking fans were wondering, why did we trade, or why did we walk away from Sam Darnold for J.J. McCarthy? And in the first half, the Bears are celebrating Caleb Williams, and it completely reversed. In the second half, that's what football sometimes is all about. So a great weekend, I thought, or first opening weekend for the National Football League, and something to build on. There's plenty of overreactions. A lot of people want to move on from Caleb Williams. Hold the horses on all that. I think he's going to be fine in time. But that's what we do. We overreact, and we'll do the same exact thing after week 2 when everything flips in the reverse order from what happened on opening weekend.
Yeah, and some issues already for after week one. Not overreacting, but some things that we thought about just going into the season. What's going on in New Orleans? Miami has got some major negativities going on in their entire organization right now, and I think their coach is already in trouble.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
not to get cliche or play on words, whatever, but I've literally been saying for more than a month now, something doesn't seem right
yeah,
in Miami. Something smells a little fishy, if you
yeah.
want to put it that way, in Miami. And it's hard to watch what happened against the Indianapolis Colts and not think that those players may have tuned out the head coach. And, I don't want to say they quit on him in week one, but I feel like there's a disconnect going on in Miami
No doubt.
between the team, the coaching staff, maybe the front office as well. So that's a big opportunity for the Miami Dolphins to kind of, dispel all that, and get back on the right track. But it hasn't felt good for a while. And I think what happened against the Colts definitely affirmed that.
Yeah, and the Giants in New York are put together a decent roster right now. But the question is, are they going to actually bring in their rookie quarterback? Because Russell Wilson looked like he was 1,000 years old last week.
Yeah, and it's a fair question. I don't think Jackson Dart is ready.
He's not.
We see
but the team isn't ready, so it doesn't
the team
matter.
Isn't ready for him. He's not ready for the challenge, I don't believe.
Yeah.
So as bad as it looked for Russell Wilson, you wonder, okay, easy answer, move on to the rookie, right? But what's the collateral damage of that potentially? And you don't want to crush Jackson Dart this early in his journey. So maybe you kind of live with whatever misery might happen right now with the Russell Wilson. To buy yourself some time to get Jackson Dart a little bit, more ready and more acclimated and ready to be in position to succeed when they ultimately do turn the reins over to him, which they will, and it'll probably happen at some point this year. But I wouldn't be in a rush to do that this early in the season.
Yeah, and then Aaron Rodgers, 4 TD passes at the Jets. Nice start for him, his revenge match. But the question is, where do they go from here? Is Pittsburgh deep enough to do anything? They look like, to me, maybe slightly above 500 again.
Yeah, and it was not a very good Jets team
exactly
that they beat. Gave up a lot of passing yards to Justin Fields. So I'm not ready to crown them anything. Great first game for Aaron Rodgers, and I think that we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers now pretty much for 2 straight years. The Achilles injury that happened 2 years ago, then coming back from that last year. I'll be happy for him if he can end this thing on the right track and give us a better version of himself this year than he did last year. And maybe that's enough for him to then walk away with his head held high, or maybe they catch lightning in a bottle and compel him to stay one more year. We'll see how that all goes. But I still, based on what you saw with the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills and the LA Chargers, the win that they had over the Kansas City Chiefs, the Raiders, some of the really good teams in the AFC. It's hard for me to imagine that the Steelers are going to be able to penetrate that upper level. Yep. I'm with you. I'm thinking more of a 500-ish type team.
Yeah, no doubt. And your team, the Raiders, there in Vegas, we already know they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're 1-0, right? So it's not even a problem. Pete Carroll, talk about what he means to this team, his rah attitude, and he's the youngest 130-year-old you ever want to meet.
Yeah, and I give a lot of credit to Pete. I thought he was the right man for the job, going back to the day that they fired Antonio Pierce. And I literally tweeted that day, keep an eye on Pete Carroll. I kind of had an advanced notice that he was interested in this job. A lot of the reason why was because of the presence of Tom Brady and some of the changes that the Raiders made at the ownership level that changed the perception of the Raiders without question. That's a sneaky big thing around here, not just Tom, but the other businessmen that were brought in as well. So you add Pete Carroll, and that was a great first step. But then going and get Geno Smith, going and hiring Chip Kelly, going and drafting Ashton Genty, all the right moves were made. Bringing in John Spytek as a general manager. So as good as the rah-rah is and effective as the rah-rah is, you're only as good as your players. So Pete Carroll and the new ownership and the new general manager backed all of that up with some really shrewd moves, I feel, during the offseason. And it's put them in position to win some games. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. I don't think anyone thinks that whatsoever. But based on what I've seen in training camp, based on what I saw Sunday in New England, I think it's doable for this team to get to December with a chance to play for something meaningful in terms of maybe making a playoff push. And if they could push themselves into that position and get to December and really play some meaningful games and maybe win a couple of those meaningful games and get a wild card berth, it would be a massive step in the right direction for this franchise.
Okay, so let's discuss Ashton Jeanty and what he should bring to this team. Not his best debut that he would have preferred, but you take the W and you keep learning.
Yeah, without question. I think a lot of the what happened on Sunday was some offensive line play. It's a very young offensive line on the right side of the offensive line. DJ Glaze is a second-year player from Maryland. Jackson Powers-Johnson, second-year player from guard, playing a new position for him at right guard. He had played left guard and mostly center last year. So there were going to be some hiccups and some growing pains, especially on that side of the line of scrimmage. And that's exactly what happened. And then conversely, or along with that, simultaneous to that, Ashton Jeanty, hyped up, extremely hyped up, as you would imagine that he would be playing his first game of his NFL career. I think the game's going to slow down for him a little bit on Monday against the Chargers, and he's going to be in a better position to take advantage of the just incredible talent that he has. It'll slow down for him. He was running on high octane when he needed to be a little bit slower and let things develop. And it was understandable on Sunday, what happened. We'll see what he's got in store for the Chargers on Monday night.
Okay, and one of our viewers, Ryan, just tweeted in, please give us a Brock Bowers update. He took the words right out of my mouth. Thanks, Ryan. For the
right. Remember, the Raiders are playing on Monday, so today is actually Wednesday in the whole football schedule.
That is true.
So we have not had access to the Raiders since Sunday in New England, and then obviously Pete talked on Monday, but that's it. We haven't had any connection to them. Okay. Until today. Normally we would have talked to him yesterday if this was a Sunday game. So no word yet. That's what 12:15 is all about. When we talk to Pete Carroll to get an update, I'm sure he's not going to have unless Brock is completely cleared to play on Sunday. I'm not sure we're going to get a full answer. But today, tomorrow, and certainly Saturday are huge days for Brock Bowers, and I'm very curious, what the status is going to be today and later on today when we get the practice report to see what level he practiced, whether he was able to go, whether he was full speed, whether he was limited, whether he didn't practice at all.
Okay, I have not been to the new stadium, which is not that new anymore. But anyway, I'm an LA guy. Vegas, I've been there 1,000 times, whatever.
Although I did take it, at Roma Deli, by the way, your recommendation. Yes.
Did you like it?
Of course.
Oh, beautiful. Isn't that a great place?
The one on Spring Mountain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I love that place. Good to know they're still doing well over there.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about home field advantage and how much is that truly in Las Vegas right now? Because I know there's a lot of teams that are bringing in visitors to watch the other side.
Yeah, and it has a little bit of a LA feel to it. Ted, you know this. When the Dodgers play the Mets, there's going to be a lot of Met fans in the stands, and the Red Sox, and the Cincinnati Reds, and the Chicago Cubs. That's just a reality of Los Angeles. It's actually a compliment to Los Angeles if we're really thinking about it. Yeah. But it's just a reality of LA teams. You have a lot of people that have moved in, transplanted. You have a lot of people that live in other cities and are fans of the team that are coming into town and say that who doesn't want to go to Los Angeles to go watch a football game or an NBA game or whatever the case might be. So it's very much like that here in Las Vegas. You've got a lot of transplants. A lot of them are Californians, by the way, that are moving here to Las Vegas. And it's Las Vegas. So it's a destination city. So when teams put their schedules out, there's a lot of fans from other teams that circle Las Vegas and say, that's a game that I got to go to. I want to see what the NFL looks like in Las Vegas and root on the Kansas City Chiefs or the Denver Broncos or whoever we're talking about. So, and then the Raiders haven't helped themselves, quite honestly, and they'll be the first to admit that. They haven't put a consistent winner on the field since moving to Las Vegas. So it's like this convergence of events, some inevitable. You're always going to have an element of other teams' fans here in Las Vegas. That's just a reality. But what you don't want is what's happened far too often, where it's 60% the other fans, or 50% the other fans, or sometimes 70% the other fans. And when you're not winning, you're playing right into that hand, because you're asking your fans, to not maybe sell their tickets and make the money up to make up for next year's, season tickets, because you're not giving them a compelling enough reason to hang on to their tickets. So it's why Sunday's game against the New England Patriots was so important. And I think this is an opportunity on Monday night to really solidify themselves and get off to a good start, so that more of their fans hang on to their tickets throughout the course of the season. And if they can win on Monday, I think that's gonna help the early part of the season, the home schedule, for more Raider fans to hang on to those tickets. Now, having said that, I think it was Vivid Seats just came out with a report that, according to their data, and they're usually right on top of these things, 84% of Allegiant Stadium on Monday night, as of right now, is expected to be Raider fans. So that would be a massive win for the Raiders. I know they're
unusually high, though, right?
What's that?
Unusually high?
Yes, quite. Yes.
Like, what would be the average, do you think?
Going into, it depends on who the opponent is.
Really?
But I've seen it at 65% other teams fans.
Wow.
And it makes a big difference. It
absolutely
clearly does. Yeah.
Okay,
go ahead.
No, please.
Yeah, and so this is the responsibility for how it's been is more on the team, and they'd be the first to admit that. So they're trying to do their part, like I said earlier, to make sure their fans hold on to those tickets and make Allegiant Stadium what it was intended to be, and that's a massive home field advantage for the Raiders. To do that, they got to do their part, and that starts, quite honestly, on Sunday. It's a great opportunity for the team. It's a great opportunity for Raider Nation that's been champing at the bit to do their part and to play their role. And I know, I have a feeling at 12:15 when we talk to Pete Carroll, he's going to put out the public service announcement to challenge the fans to do their part. It comes with a responsibility. He understands that. The players understand that they got to uphold their end of the bargain. And that includes getting off to a good start on Monday night and keeping the fans engaged and making sure that 84% of the stadium that's Raider fans then are given something to cheer about. And
they're loud for a reason.
Exactly. So we'll see how it all turns out. I'm really curious how it's going to look on Monday.
Yeah, by the way, next time you see Chip Kelly, tell him the hockey guy in L.A., says hello.
I will do that.
At his introductory news conference at UCLA, we had a wonderful conversation. He used to go to my games in New Hampshire when he was in high school.
Oh.
And when I was calling games at my first job in New Hampshire in 1978.
I'm going to talk to Chip tomorrow. I will tell him that.
Yeah, see if he doesn't remember me, tell him, hey, it was nice knowing you.
Okay.
Anyway, one more thing about the Vegas Stadium before we move on to the week. Delicate subject, violence in the stands. Okay, we had some issues here in LA at the Rams game this week. You might have seen the video on that. More fights. That's the way it used to be in the old days when it was the Los Angeles Raiders, and it was really bad. I mean, fights breaking out everywhere, and especially a Rams Raiders game. It was or a Rams or a Raiders Chargers game. I mean, it was like pockets of fights and really bad, right? Obviously, alcohol is involved there. I was told that the only reason, maybe not the only, the main reason the Raiders were not accepted by the league to come back to LA was because of that. Your thoughts on what is going on there? Is it a little bit better? Have they cleaned it up? What's going on?
Yeah, no. It's definitely better without question. Now, I talking to people in the NFL, talking to people with the Raiders, I would challenge people to remember what it looked like in Pittsburgh, what it looked like in Philadelphia back in those days too. It was rough and tumble. The NFL has done a much better job of securing games and making it a safer environment. That said, you're still going to have that element, and we see the tapes of it all the time still in Philadelphia and in other places. So I'm not going to speculate why Los Angeles fans and Raider fans have been pointed out more sometimes than other cities fans. I'll let people use their imagination on why that might be. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that there's things that happen at other stadiums as well. And at least from my perspective, being here for the last 5 years, since 2021 was when fans were introduced, I don't see it anymore than other stadiums. To me, it's a very safe place to come watch a game. And are there incidents? I'm sure, yes, but it's not like what you described. When the Raiders were playing at the Coliseum, the Los Angeles Coliseum. I
hope not.
No, definitely
or
not.
Even in Anaheim, like when they played in the Rams in their old stadium in Anaheim. I mean, it was just really bad.
Yeah, and I think hopefully, again, it was rough and tumble in the 80s in a lot of different places.
Sure.
I mean, there's literally some stadiums that have jails, holding cells at stadiums for that very reason. So yeah, I think that's a outdated scouting report now. So thanks.
Good. I hope.
Yeah.
That's great news. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Rams, since that's the team that I'm regularly around a lot. And I was at the opener last weekend, and they squeaked out a win with a little late help on defense there. The punch out fumble for where Houston ended up not getting their winning drive underway. What are your thoughts on the Rams so far and what they can bring to the table?
Yeah, I'm bullish on the Rams. I think if Matthew Stafford stays healthy with Devontae Adams now and Puka Nacua, Kieran Williams, the great young running back, I think that they've got enough offensively to compete at the highest level. And I think hats off to Les Snead and his group and Kevin Demoff and everybody else over on the football side of things in terms of bringing in talent. They just have a way of identifying talent and bringing it in. And then Sean McVay and his coaching staff are excellent at development. So I think this is a team to keep an eye on in the NFC. And as long as Matthew Stafford, you could say this obviously about a lot of different teams with their quarterbacks. It kind of goes without saying that you have to keep your quarterback healthy. But in his case, more particularly and more pertinently, because it is a back issue that he's dealing with, and those can be tricky. You can roll out of bed the wrong way, and then all of a sudden you're down for a couple of weeks. So incumbent on the Rams and their training staff, which they have one of the best in the NFL, to stay on top of that and to make sure that Matthew Stafford gets through this season, because if he does, and if he does it at a healthy level, I think the Rams are going to be a problem for many teams.
Otherwise, a guy you know very well, Jimmy G, is waiting in the wings in case they need him. Emergency guy, right? And not a bad backup to have either.
No, not at all. And I got to know Jimmy during his 1 year here. It didn't quite work out, obviously. But a true gentleman, and was fun getting to know him. And obviously the Rams don't want to have to lean on him too heavily, but I still think he's got a little bit of juice left in that arm. And if he has to be called upon, not a bad option to have on a short-term basis.
Yep. Another guy that you know well from specifically his days in Vegas last year is Devontae Adams, and he's now a very important member of the Rams on offense, of course, with Puka Nacua. That's a hell of a 1-2 punch. I talked to Devontae after the game on Sunday. He's got a couple of comments with the importance of that combination with him and Puka and Matthew Stafford. How do you explain the early chemistry with Matthew, as far as you guys had 19 of the 29 targets already, you and Puka?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a lot of the game plan is geared to get us involved. So Puka had a great game. I think, we had a decent start, but I think there's a lot more we can build on for sure. But, the target share is out of our hands. We just go out there and run the routes, and if the ball comes our way, try to make plays. It's a long season. Obviously, the first game is never going to be the best. You hope it's not the best. And if we can play virtually as bad and almost give it away as many times as we did and still find a way to win, there's something to be said about a team that can do something like that as well.
How about your first game as a Ram? What's this like for you?
It's great. We got a dub.
Yeah.
Yep.
But overall, just the atmosphere and everything.
It's just fun, man. These guys are just gritty and grimy dudes that's going to go out there and find a way to make it work. And a young team with a lot of energy and really everything that it takes to be a great team. So, like I said, we didn't put the best display out there, but we did enough to be able to win the game.
There you go. That's Davante Adams. Thoughts on him, and great guy to deal with. He is always straightforward, no BS with him.
Yeah, got a chance to know Davante when he was here with the Raiders. Didn't work out, obviously. The quarterback situation, front and center, and the coaching situation, obviously, kind of sabotaged that whole thing. It is what it is. But I remember talking to some people with the Rams on the Rams staff after he signed with the Rams. I always knew that he was interested in the Rams, and why wouldn't you be? With Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. But in my mind, it's a player that's wired for greatness. He lost a few years here with the Raiders. He gave it a shot. It didn't work out. But he and Matthew Stafford, and now pairing him up with Puka Nacua, there's still something left there with Davante Adams. I think he showed that last year, still going over 1,000 yards receiving. Playing with the quarterbacks that he played with here. And then going to New York and playing with an Aaron Rodgers that still wasn't, I think, completely beyond the Achilles tendon injury. So he and Matthew Stafford, I think, are going to be a real good pairing. And I think Ram fans are going to understand how good this player is. He's not the same Davante Adams that he was at 25 years old, but he's still pretty close, and he still packs a punch.
Yeah, and also got a chance to get a few questions in with Puka after the win over Houston, and he was really excited about a lot of things and a lot of fun at the end of this cut.
Weren't able to get more points on the board today. How much of that is a week one thing, like you're still figuring this out?
Yeah, I think definitely a little bit of a week one thing, but then also just trying to figure out what the defense is doing. They're making adjustments to what we're doing out there at the same time, and for everybody to communicate and be on the same page. I trust Matthew to always go out there and make the right call, whether it's Canada play or learning to something else for a pass concept. But when we all go out there, we trust 9 to get us in the end zone.
How about you guys you and Davante getting 19 of the 29 targets in game one? I know they want to get it in your hands, but just talk about that chemistry early on and how important that's going to be all season long.
Yeah, I think it speaks to how well Matthew prepares and our coaches and the game plan that we put in for this week. I was super excited when we're going through the practice week and you're all right on Wednesday. This is what we got on Thursday, and you're feeling really confident walking into Saturday night walkthroughs and being like, all right, we're going out there to execute, and we feel pretty confident with the ammo that we have loaded up for the game plan. So it was super fun, and then just for the big boys to trust us and to fight that extra second in the down to make sure that we can't throw the ball down the field.
Matthew, it was your 6-yard catch, completion from him that got him into
a funny answer
60,000 career passing yards. Just when you think about him reaching that accomplishment, like, how does that resonate with you?
Yeah, it was actually pretty funny. He came up to me. He was like, "Man, I'm glad the ball went to you." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like thanks." But like I was like, "I'm pretty sure the play was supposed to come to me." and then as he says that, I like look up on the big screen and it's like, "Oh, Matthew Stafford just passed 60,000," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, brother. I totally missed that." I'm like, just on the field, and then I was like, "Oh, I understand why you said that." I'm like, "I'm grateful because I think it was funny because the next I didn't say this to him, but I was like, the rookie record was Carson Wentz. Even though we got it breaking in San Fran, so it's nice that one of those will have Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua tagged to it."
There you go. So he's just having a blast with that, and he's a really interesting character. Have you had a chance to deal with him at all, Vinny?
Yeah, a little bit. In fact, he's got a Las Vegas connection. He and his brother. I think he played 1 or 2 years here in Las Vegas in high school before moving to Utah. I don't know if you know this, Ted, but there's a huge Hawaiian and Polynesian population here in Las Vegas. It's called the Ninth Island, actually. So a whole bunch of Hawaiians and Polynesians that play high school football out here. is really starting to emerge as very, very effective. And so Puka definitely has a Las Vegas connection and a lot of Puka Nacua fans here in the Ninth Island.
Outstanding. Okay, so we are the Thursday Night Football pregame show of record, and it should be a hell of a game tonight. We got Washington and Green Bay, both teams off to a good start, and Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels, a lot of future there for the league if these guys can continue to grow.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and I think I'm really looking forward to this game. Jaden Daniels, a kid from Southern California, I want to say Jordan Love is too, right?
Yes, he is. Yes,
yeah,
he is.
But we want to say both are. I know Jaden is an Inland Empire kid,
Exactly.
so we always love that for the Californians that among us.
Us native Californians, yes.
Yep, there you go. And so, yeah, I think it's a great game. You got star power across the field: Micah Parsons, Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, the former Raiders running back, and it's one of those early season tests. I would have loved for this game to have been on a Sunday and give everybody the full amount of time to prepare for it, but it is what it is. And so it's like Lambeau Field, a tough place to play. And I think the team that wins tonight really kind of stamps themselves as a team that's going to be seriously reckoned with, have to be seriously reckoned with as the rest of the season unfolds.
Yeah, and when you look at the schedule for this week, just overall, I mean, you're talking about teams that are with great chances of going 2-0, and then the dreaded 0-2 start that nobody wants a part of.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at, I forgot the one team that I was talking about earlier today that they're the Lions and the Bears. That's the one that really jumps out at me. You do not want to fall down 0-2 in that division and in the NFC conference. And obviously the Chiefs, hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Ted, when was the last time the Kansas City Chiefs, with a full complement of players? I know there has been times where they've sat everybody, and Las Vegas has recognized that. But when they've been fully healthy and engaged, when was the last time they went into a game as underdogs at Arrowhead Stadium? That's the case right now.
It's not in the Mahomes era, and they have never started a season 0-2 with him at quarterback.
There you go, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happened on Sunday, based on what we saw with the Chargers beating the Kansas City Chiefs over in Brazil. So a lot of compelling games, without question. The Vikings against the who the Vikings playing? The Sunday night game is the Minnesota Vikings. Another really, I forget who they're playing.
Yeah, we got that right here on the screen here in front of you.
Yeah, I do not have my glasses, so I can't see that far.
Okay.
But yeah, the Vikings have a big game as well. They have a chance to go to 2-0. So it's never, the NFL just keeps chugging along, and credit to the schedule makers for coming up with some really compelling games to start the season. I'm going to put my glasses on.
And what about that Raiders game at home? Their home opener. The AFC West is maybe the best overall coached division ever. It doesn't get much deeper, right?
No, I remember thinking maybe the NFC East back in the day with Bill Parcells and Joe Gibbs, and Jimmy Johnson out in Dallas,
or Tom Landry.
So Tom Landry, exactly. Without question, when you talk about Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, guys that have won national championships, Super Bowls, been to Super Bowls, multiple Super Bowls, multiple national championships. So it's and on top of that, Ted, you've got really good quarterbacks too. I think Geno Smith showed a lot. This is a really big game, by the way, for Geno Smith.
Yes,
to kind of, it's one thing to do it in Seattle, and we got love for the Pacific Northwest and the Seattle Seahawks, but the Raiders are a little bit different, and if he can build off what he did on Sunday against the New England Patriots and come up with a big game against a bitter rival on Monday Night Football, go toe-to-toe with the Justin Herbert, I think people nationally are going to be like, that Geno Smith guy is pretty good, and he is.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Geno is, too, and we've talked about it on this show for the last few years, when he moved to Seattle, it was almost like the first time he had a stable situation. All right. He's been with so many offensive coordinators and head coaches, and and he's not an elite quarterback anyway, so he needs that stability in his life, in his football life, and it hasn't been there. Now he's with a new team again, but the fact that he's back with Pete helps a lot.
Yeah, there's something to be said about people who believe in you, and
Yeah,
I would urge
no doubt.
I would urge anybody, go find somebody that believes in you the way Pete Carroll believes in Geno Smith, and quite honestly, the way Geno Smith believes in Pete Carroll.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. What is it about that game, though, that you want to see the most besides Geno? This is a chance for Ashton Genty to break out, too.
Yeah, it's a chance for Ashton to show the world on a national stage why he was a 6th pick overall. There's some people still a little bit of debate on whether you invest that high of a draft pick in a running back. So that's number one. For Geno Smith to kind of announce himself as one of the better quarterbacks in the league, especially if he can outduel a Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert and the Chargers, can they build off what they did against the Kansas City Chiefs? Who wants to be 2-0 in the AFC West? Because no matter what happens, whoever wins that game is by themselves in first place in the AFC West. I know it's early, but when you want to set a tone for your season and put yourself on the right path, think of it from the Raiders' perspective. If you lose and go to 1-1, guess where you're going next week? You're going to the Washington, D.C. to play the Commanders, who are, by the way, are going to have an extra few days off because they're playing tonight.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, the prospects of falling into a 1-2 hole, if you don't take care of business on Monday, becomes very real, rather than, hey, you buy yourself maybe a little bit of breathing room at 2-0 where you can, I don't want to say afford to lose in Washington, but it's a much less damaging loss at that point if you take care of business here. So for a lot of reasons, this is a big game, and I'm very curious what it's going to sound like, what it's going to look like, how Geno's going to fare, how Ashton's going to fare. Can the Raiders defense, which is really young at cornerback, hold up against, a great quarterback with a great scheme? Greg Roman does a great job as the offensive coordinator. And year 2 with Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, are they ready to be that team rather than the same old Chargers who find a way to always stub their toe? This is a great opportunity for them as well.
Yeah, well, finally, Harbaugh is getting his team the way he wants it. It's still not all there. It's only year 2, so it's going to take a while. But he's building from the strength on the lines and trying to make his team run through people.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. I never forget his first OTA, Jim. The first coach that he put out there to speak to the media, and this never happens, was the strength and conditioning coach of the Chargers. And I remember watching that, and I was like, okay, there's the message. We're going to be bigger than you. We're going to be stronger than you. That's what we're going to hang our hat on. This is the guy that's going to help us get to it. It set a tone with the team, with everybody else. This is what we're bringing here. We're not going to be talking about flying and throwing the ball around. Not yet, anyway. It's time to get bigger and stronger than everybody else, out physical everybody. And so what a great message. It was typical Jim Harbaugh to do that, because you don't see that ever.
Yeah, and the question is, for the Charger fans don't really, they want to see a great regular season, but they don't give a damn until Justin Herbert wins a playoff game impressively.
Yeah, and we're a long way away from that, but I'm with you. He needs to cash in, and he's 0-2 in the playoffs, and quite honestly, the performances haven't been good. Last year's performance against the Houston Texans was downright terrible, bad. So which brought up the conversation: is he just a regular season quarterback? Can he get it done in the postseason? Well, here's the thing: you can't get there until you take care of business here. So I'm with you. I'm curious what that looks like, but the Chargers, the first and foremost, have to get there before we can even start talking about that.
Exactly. We know we got to let you go because Pete Carroll is going to start yelling at you any minute now. I put this on just for you, if you got your glasses on, so you could talk about your show that you do with the special subscription to watch your show.
Yep, and this is the Vegas Nation subscription. If you go to mylvrj.com/nation, you can get the next 3 months of Vegas Nation, a digital subscription to Vegas Nation for 25 cents. That's not 25 cents per month, Ted. That's 25 cents for the next 3 months. It's our gift to Raider fans who have been supporting us like no other. You could also catch me over at Raider Nation Radio. If you're out of Las Vegas, you can check it out over at Raiders.com. It's streamed live. So check that out. It's the Morning Tailgate show from 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday.
There you go. And I can't, a 1 quarter in a slot machine is all that costs? You got to be kidding me.
Exactly. For the yeah, and we do it. We got you covered from A to Z with the Raiders, 24/7.
That's fantastic. Great to see you again, Vinny. And
You too,
I'm
Ted.
sure. Let's see. We will be seeing you this year, right? At SoFi.
Oh yeah, November 30th.
Oh, you got that marked down already.
Yep.
Post Thanksgiving.
Yes, exactly.
Good to see you, sir. Have a great week, and thanks for joining us on the show.
You too, Ted. Thank you for the invite.
You got it. Vinny Bonsignore from Las Vegas, everybody. Have a great week, number 2.